Hello, Tiger fans. Thanks for joining us this week on the Perry Thomas Show. Matt Payton with you in the studios here at Campbellsville University as we take a look around Fighting Tiger football, a home matchup with Georgetown College this past weekend. On the road this coming week to Lindsey Wilson College. Coach, they put this schedule together on you, and they could have helped you out a little bit. You go to Cumberland's top 25. Yeah. You host Georgetown top 25, and you think maybe it'll get easier. No, let's just go to number one. Man, you guys are in some stretch here.
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's a tough road. I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, "Coach, do you feel like you're getting better?" And I really do. I was like, "Yeah, we are getting better. We are a much better team now from day one." But the teams we're playing are so much better that it doesn't look like it. And you get exploited bad. And it's a tough road. It is. A lot of years you're hungry to play these games. You're ready to go because you can line up and compete. This year is tough. And to the credit of our guys, those young guys, and they're still getting out there and come to practice every day fired up and getting ready to play.
One thing about talking, you've got this schedule and being ready to play out of the gate, improving. First quarter, I know moral victories or whatever you want to look at. First quarter, that's a shutout, a stalemate game. Pitcher's duel there for you guys. Scoreless going into the second quarter. You can see some of those improvements and different things. But as you've talked about a few times throughout our sit-downs this season, you're just a little outmanned up front.
Oh, yeah.
And Georgetown able to hold the ball for almost 40 minutes of that football game. I know that makes it extremely tough on you guys.
Yeah, it's tough, no doubt about it. I mean, they had 2 99-yard drives. Now, that could bother you, and it does. I'm the defensive coordinator, and it bothers us a lot. But at the same time, the way I look at it is they weren't breaking those 50, 60-yard runs and just gashing us. We were making them earn it. So, therefore, we are improving. It's unfortunate we got inside the 3 twice, for 8 plays inside the 5 and 3 to 5 yard line and couldn't score. And that just tells you a little bit that you're a little bit outmanned. Their guys in certain spots are a little bit better than you right now, but we're catching up. We're going to get there again. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the effort our guys gave, but we just got to get better. We're not out there just to give effort. Effort's expected, so we want to win. And we just got to continue to grind until we can.
Looking at that film last week, you go break it down. I'm sure you spend, that evening, Sunday, whatever it might be, looking at it. What are some of those things on film you're looking at? Obviously, technique is big. Maybe the gas tank, are guys able to give you an extra few plays than what you're used to? What are some of those things that you look at on film, you see it, and maybe brings a smile to your face, or, that's what I'm looking for right there?
Yeah, so you're looking at, obviously, team effort, number one. You want those guys competing on every play in every position. So that's something that you're always looking for. Is it happening every play? No. But are we getting more to that level? Yes. You're also looking at fundamentals. You're looking at see if our guys are squeezing that block down when they're supposed to, crossing that block when they're supposed to, pulling in that hole, getting to that block, to execute that block, those type of things. And once again, is it always correct? No. But is it getting better? Yes. Otherwise we're not moving the ball some against Georgetown, who plays a very stingy defense right now. So you're looking at that. You're looking at just the body language also, who's out there pouting and whining and when things aren't going our way. And that lets you know if your guys are still competing or if they're falling apart. And I'm seeing improvement in that. I'm seeing our guys still out there. You're going to see some of that bad language, but you see some of that bad language when you're 8-0. Our guys are getting better. So those are the things you're looking for as a coach, along with just the little parts of the game and if we can run certain plays and so forth. And then you also note, where do we have to get better? What position do we need to get in as we move forward into the off season now? We're 2 weeks away from the off season and recruiting is heavy. What positions do we really need to get in and show up? Get some other bodies in there or something like that. Or how do we need to change the people out there's bodies and techniques and so forth? So there's a lot of little things you're looking for right there. I'm a type of coach that I like to watch the game immediately after we play. So when we get done playing, I'm going to do TV. Once our film gets uploaded, I'm going to grade the film right there from my standpoint and watch it right there in the office and clean it up. And then that way Sunday I can get on our next opponent.
You guys, a couple of bright spots from that matchup. Devin Neely kicks a big one. I mean, I think 50 was the official, or they go 49?
I think it was 50.
50, so maybe not a 50-yard field goal since Casey Clark back in the day, maybe in the last one of those. But that's, you know, that distance, I know it was late in the half, so that may have helped a little bit. But what's Devin's range? Is that something you're pretty comfortable with, or is that a bit of a roll of the dice? Yeah, you are now. It looked good from 55 or so.
Yeah. So, and with the kicker, the range kind of varies game to game. You know, and the weather factors, the coolness or the heat, or you know, it's just like a golf ball. You know, the ball's going to feel different and travel different if it's real hot, or if it's cold, then it's a windy day. Devin's had some injuries, so I always ask Matt Atwood. He handles our kickers, and I always ask him, you know, can we kick this? And he typically, when we get down to a certain range, he's coming up to me, telling me, Coach, we can kick it here if you want to go for it, or we can't. And when he came up the other day, and I asked him, I'm like, all right, can we do it? And he was like, well, Coach, I feel more comfortable get here, and all this stuff. I'm like, Matt, can we do it? And he's like, yeah, and we gave him a shot, and he knocked it through her. So everything has to work for that to happen, though. You snap, you hold, your protection, and it was a huge play for us, and it was good to see. He also will get confidence from that, you know, because he just did a great smooth kick and was able to kick it through.
And he's a guy, you know, one of those key positions. You don't want to be turning over that kicker every year. You'd like to find a guy at least 3-4 years and rely on him. So he's going to have a few years left for you guys. That'll be a positive as well. And then Deonta Sipp, you know, another great game from him, Coach. You didn't get much going offensively. Josh struggled a little bit. The defensive line got some pressure. But Sipp able to run the ball very well, 160 yards again on the ground for that young man, and a complete performance as far as he's concerned. Yeah,
no doubt. You know, he's a grad student. He's done it in this league before. I do think that we're beginning to run the ball really well, which sets us up in the future really good, because we've got some good running backs, and that means the O-line's blocking better and the receivers are blocking better. But Sipp, I think he's like 772 in 7 games. So he's averaging like 147 a game, I think. And, you know, you think about it, if he can get, you know, a couple of decent games here, he can get over that 1,000-yard mark, which is huge in 7 games, and huge when you're having a record like ours, you know, so you're not just out there dominating people. He's a workhorse, no doubt about it. He finds those little seams and gets up in there, runs hard, has great balance, and he's a team player. You know, he could be a tough kid to handle with the success he had coming in, and you know, being a grad student, but he's all about the team. He's very humble, and he's been a great leader for us this year.
The Tigers will go on the road. They'll look for an upset of #1 Lindsey Wilson College this coming weekend. It's a 2:30 kickoff. Zach Clements will be along for the call of that game over in Columbia. 2:15 coverage will begin on 88.7. The Tiger will step away, talk to linebackers coach Robbie Gribbins for the Tigers. He and Perry go way back. We'll talk to Robbie here in just a moment. We'll get the head coach back in the hot seat here shortly and talk to him about this matchup coming up with Lindsey Wilson College. Stay with us here on the Perry Thomas Show.
When I first saw Turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We had this like deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
we discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things,
but they're all pure love.
Mom was always very self-sufficient, but we started noticing things were off.
I was forgetting my responsibilities at work.
I told Mom we should visit a doctor.
Alzheimer's. It was hard to hear that.
Early detection gave us time to seek information and support as a family. I've never felt more connected with Mom.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things.
Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own, a place that I call home, this place that I call home.
Welcome back to the Perry Thomas Show here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you as we take a look at the defensive side of the football for the Tigers. We welcome in the final assistant coach to make an appearance this season, Robbie Gribbins, Campbellsville native, Campbellsville High School graduate, spent some time in the Marine Corps there, and I know now back here coaching at your old stomping grounds over there at Finley Stadium. Played 2 years for the Tigers, and now coaching under a guy that I know is pretty special to you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you know, Coach Thomas, he's I call him Pops. Everybody else calls him Coach Thomas. You know, Pops took me in when I was struggling adolescent in high school, and just give me that role model and that discipline and that structure that kind of led me into the Marine Corps. He kind of gave me that backbone, and matter of fact, he told me one day, you either gonna go to college or you gonna get a job. I said, well, fine then, I'm just gonna go to the Marines. And then I got on those yellow footprints. I was like, man, maybe I should have sat there and thought about this a little bit. But so yeah, man, me and Coach Thomas, we go back a long time. He's involved in my kids. They're like his grandchildren. Actually, Tyler plays on the team, so it's like I got my pops and my son on the team, and I'm kind of the middleman. And Tyler, you know, he says he's never seen this side of Pops that he's seen these last 2 seasons, so he's kind of getting to see what I seen when I was Tyler's age before I became a Marine. So it's been fun, man. It's been a cool circle. You know, I was at Campbellsville High School when Pops was over here coaching, so I always came to the games and, you know, stayed involved with what he was doing. And he's been a very intricate part of who I am and what I'm all about.
Before we get into your position group, what's it like for you being around Tyler like this and being able to coach your son at the collegiate level, be around him as he plays?
Yeah, me and Tyler, you know, we got a unique bond. We got a special relationship. I've been actually coaching him since he was 10 years old, and then I followed him up through middle school, and I got the opportunity to coach under Dale Estes and coached him for 4 years in high school, and then come over here he actually came when I came. So Tyler came as a freshman my first year, and it's kind of like, that's kind of our relationship. You know, football is kind of, you know, brings us together and gives us a lot to talk about and a lot in common, but it's very unique.
Walk me through this Tiger position group. You've got some really young, talented guys. I know they're beat and banged at this point in the season, but walk me through.
Well, we got, you know, we lost 2 really good linebackers last year with Andrew Bennett, who was a program guy. You know, he'd been here for 4 years, played all over the place, turned himself out to be an NCAA football player. Then, you know, we had John Carruthers, who came in for 1 year and made a lot of plays for us, and was a program guy as well. But now it's a little different. You know, last year had older guys, and this year have all freshmen and sophomores and one older guy in Abood Ellis. And my guys are very talented. What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to dedicate themselves in the weight room. They're figuring out real fast the difference in a freshman and a junior and senior at this level. You know, so last year they was the top dog on their team as far as being physically developed. Now they're going up against much bigger, stronger guys. And I'll tell you what, Matt, like if my guys will dedicate themselves into the weight room, I feel like we have some all-conference type LBs. Jacoby Miguel and Jamari Sabbs, 2 freshmen. If they can get some weight and some size and some strength on them, they're going to be a force to reckon with in the Mid-South Conference.
You know, you go back to that group like Blake Young and Daniel De Leon that were just pillars for that Tiger defense for so many years. You get a couple guys like that, it certainly changes the defense.
It definitely changes that box. You know, and Coach Hill, he does a great job with the defensive line, and we work in there together. So, you know, we definitely got to anchor down in that box to help stop that run. And I think those freshmen, if they can buckle down in the weight room, like I said, and really just develop themselves, they have the skills at the linebacker position. We just have to develop some strength in those guys.
You know, you talk about the strength, you talk about the weight room. you double as strength and conditioning coach. What's that role like, and are you extra hard on those linebackers? Maybe keep a close eye on.
Me and Coach Burnett, he does a fantastic job in there. Me and him kind of spearhead that together. And, you know, I do hold those LBs a little bit extra hard. I tell Jacoby every day, man, if you will get in this weight room, you'll be an All-American. And I really believe that when I tell him that he can just play. He just has to get stronger. But, yeah, we hold all our guys to a high standard in the weight room. I feel like that is going to be something that will flip this program as we get those freshmen and becoming sophomores and becoming juniors. And you get that 365 days, and all that training goes a long way to really pay off on that field.
You look at this Lindsey Wilson club this coming weekend, Coach, and you faced a really old group last week in Georgetown. Lindsey Wilson, they're very similar. Bring back a lot of guys. A lot of guys taking advantage of that fifth year. What are some things that you guys on the defensive side of the ball have to do to give yourselves a chance?
Well, man, we're playing the best team in the country. And I'm telling my room every day, you know, what a great opportunity. You know, not everybody gets to wake up and play the best team in the country. And what an opportunity my guys have to showcase their ability against the best. And, you know, that's where we're trying to get to. So to get there, we got to beat those guys. And we're trying to close that gap. You know, offensively, they can run it, they can throw it. They have huge receivers. They got playmakers all over the field. Offensive line is big and strong. We're just going to go in there and play with all we got and let the cards fall where they may.
When you go down your roster and you know the defensive side there, that box area has been banged up, what are some ways that you guys have tried to fight through that this year? And, you know, you've been replacing bodies, had to move some guys around. I know that's difficult this late in the year, but what are some of the obstacles there as you guys move forward?
It has been an obstacle. You know, I think a few weeks ago we look up and Coach Thomas throws Jeff Mays out there at defensive line. You know, that's just where we're at right now. With some injuries and some guys parting ways with the program and just being so young, we're just trying to patch it together. You know, and telling those guys, Coach Thomas has started a little thing about a month ago about just grabbing that shovel and keep getting those blisters and keep digging. And I feel like we have, you know, we are improving in a lot of areas. It's just a lot of times our youth keep showing up. And I know, you know, you probably hear that every week from every coach, but it's no excuse. It's just real in this kind of game. You know, youth and inexperience definitely shows up, and I feel like we can battle, and then, boom, our youth shows up.
One more thing we got to mention before I let you go. I don't want to get in trouble. Andrea may get me, or maybe even father-in-law. If you don't know, Robbie's father-in-law is Buford Sanders. So not only are you heavily invested in this football program, you keep close tabs on that baseball team
so
also.
My daughter, Trina, she feels like she's a celebrity when she comes over. She gets to go hang out with Pops. She gets to ride the gator with Buford. So she feels like she kind of is the head honcho over here on campus. So, yeah, we're definitely a Tiger family.
Coach, best of luck this weekend.
Thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it.
Coach Robbie Gribbins, linebackers coach here at Campbellsville University. The Tigers on the road, Lindsey Wilson College this weekend, 2:30, the kickoff time for that. We'll step away, come back, and we'll visit with the head coach of the Fighting Tigers one more time here on the Perry Thomas Show.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
we discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things,
but they're all pure love.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my 3rd child, who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Perry Thomas Show continues here on the Campbellsville University Sports Network. Matt Payton with you here as we go around Fighting Tiger football. We talked to linebackers coach there, Robbie Gribbins. Now we welcome back in the head coach, Perry Thomas, says Campbellsville will take the short road trip. Coach, that little drive down to Lindsey Wilson College, not too bad, but the prospect of taking on the #1 team in the country, always a daunting task, but I'm sure your guys will be up for it.
Oh, no doubt about it. You know, I mean, it's a great opportunity. You playing the #1 team in the country, the defending national champion. They've done a tremendous job. One of the great things they've done is been able to maintain this group of upperclassmen through the years. And, you know, with the COVID rule, they got everybody back. You know, Georgetown the same way. They got everybody back. So it's a big challenge for us, no doubt, but it's a great opportunity is the way you look at it. A great opportunity to go to down and get an upset, but even just to get better against, you know, the top-ranked team in the country. And, you know, you have to kind of define what's better within yourselves, but you want to go in and make improvement and see you guys compete. And certainly where they're at right now is where we're striving to get to.
You know, you get that team in your league every year. It's a super challenging division, arguably the most difficult in all of the NAIA college football ranks. You get to go against those guys. You're in the trenches. You're lined up on the outside. Your kids will see, your players will see what those teams look like and what operating at that level looks like. And you haven't had that in the last few years. That will certainly be you know, good for you guys to see as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Those guys, you know, we can go in there and tell them, guys, this is how you look when you stay. This is how you look when you're committed to the program and committed to the process of doing things the way we do it at Campbellsville, the university as a whole. And you stay into the program and commit to it. And we've had those teams before, certainly not #1, but we've had those type of teams. And, you know, this is an opportunity for our guys, even last week against Georgetown. A playoff team last year, will be a playoff team again this year, probably. This is an opportunity for our guys to look at them and say, you know, this is where we need to get to, and this is what we need to do to transform ourselves into that type of program.
Lindsey Wilson basically returns the entire roster from a team that won the national championship thanks to the COVID rule. I know obviously not a good thing, but if you have that type of team and you say, hey, bring them all back, it'd be a great problem to have, right, Coach? And Cameron Dukes, a senior quarterback, a graduate senior quarterback, however you want to look at it, but they're going to have guys on this roster 23, 24 years old that have been in their program for 4 or 5 years. You look at the film this week, what jumps out at you?
Well, they're just solid everywhere. I mean, they're a solid team. I can remember back 17 and 14, 15, and we would line up and play teams and just self-scouting. You know, we was pretty tough. We were solid. We had O-line, D-lines, we had linebackers, we had running backs, stud quarterbacks, receivers, outstanding receivers. You know, I mean, there wasn't many weaknesses. And it was hard to find a flaw in those teams. Well, it's certainly that way with these guys. And what these guys have is they have that extra level because not only did they win the national championship last year, but they won it as upperclassmen. And because of COVID, they're all back. And so there's no weaknesses in them. They're a solid football team, well coached. They do things right. And it's going to be a challenge for us. But I'm excited about it. I mean, I really am. I'm excited about the opportunity to go down there and see what our guys can do against a team of that level and just to see how much improvement we make to go in and give ourselves the opportunity to compete.
Offensively, what do the Tigers look to accomplish this week? Obviously, you know, some of the move the ball, score points, those types of things, but maybe even a little more, you know, we go through that with a fine-tooth comb. What are you after?
So we you know, the big thing for us is we have to get better in our protections a little bit. Lindsey's going to give you a multiple fronts and box looks. They move around a lot, going to take chances in gaps. And it's a great chance to see, you know, how much better we get at blocking some of those gaps and finding those lanes and able to move the ball. But I also want to see the quarterbacks be able to fine-tune some of their control passing and hit some of those routes we're missing a little bit of. So, you know, that's what we're looking for. If we can do that, then we can move that ball consistently. No one has stopped us from moving the ball consistently when we're executing. It's when we miss a pass or drop a pass or miss a block that we get in trouble. So we want to see a little more consistency on offense.
And when you look on the defensive side of the ball for you guys, obviously up front's going to be a big thing. You've been able to hold up in that secondary for the most part. It's been up front. So Lindsey Wilson team, probably a little more balanced, but they certainly are capable of mixing in several guys to run the football here and there on the defensive side of the ball. What's that look like?
Yeah, so we have to slow them up. I thought we did a better job against Georgetown of slowing them up, and we have to be able to slow Lindsey up. They run the ball as well as they throw the ball. They have Jalen Boyd, who's been back there forever, and Dukes, who's been back there forever, and he's a strong runner, big, huge, strong O-line, and we have to be able to get down in those trenches and get after them. At the same time, stop their passing game. They have some really good receivers. The Van Cleve kid from Danville transferred in from Wofford, and they're a strong football team. So we have to really just compete defensively, get better, and make tackles. And that's been our big focus is tackling. And young bodies just don't tackle well. You think in high school, well, they tackled in high school. Well, in high school they were playing the same age. And as a freshman in high school, they probably didn't. And so young bodies just don't tackle well. And we just we have to tackle better, and that's just been a huge focus of ours.
When you look at these other teams and you see some kids that maybe you tried to recruit or you were on, does that give you any help in terms of breaking down a team? Maybe some of those student athletes' strengths and weaknesses, or is it hard to gauge?
Well, with some it does because they don't change much, and you kind of know what they can do and what they can't. And then with others, it's hard to gauge because you don't know the improvement they make. When you look at a team like Georgetown and Lindsey and even Bethel next week, you know what they have. You're very familiar with those guys. You've played them enough, and you know what they have. And you also know how the coaches are. So, most of these coaches have been in the league a while now. You look at the last 3 games we played with Matt Reimer. I think he's been there 11 years maybe. And Coach Oliver and Coach Cronin, they've been at their places forever. So you know what they're going to do, and you know what the guys do, so you don't have to get into those things. One of the difficulties of our division is difficult. And that sounds strange to say, but
that may be putting it politely.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And I tell people all the time, when you win out of the bluegrass or our old divisions, it's tough. And if you look in this division alone over the last 10 years, just use the last 10 years, us, Bethel, Lindsey, Georgetown have won and University of Cumberland have won multiple division championships. And it's tough. And not every division can say that, Not every division can say that. But those 5 teams have dominated the Mid-South in these divisions. Even when Reinhardt and Faulkner were in our divisions, and Reinhardt won their share too, right? But those teams have dominated and been consistent through the years. So it's a tough division, and there's no weak spots. So, we just got to continue to battle to get back to that light, and it's there. Yeah. We are closer. And I was telling the president that one day this week, President Spears, Dr. Spears, we are closer than it looks. It doesn't look good because the teams we're playing, but we are closer than it looks. These guys just got to season a little bit.
It's like me when I was in school. When I sat next to that A+ student, my work looked a lot less pretty in some of that regard. Coach, best of luck this weekend. Thanks for joining us again as we wrap up this week. We'll remind you the Tigers are in action 2:30 on Saturday afternoon over in Columbia. They'll take on the #1 ranked Blue Raiders and look for a win there, an upset bid for Campbellsville University. A special thank you to linebackers coach Robbie Gribbins for joining us this week, as well as the head coach of the Tigers, Perry Thomas. We'll see you next time on the Perry Thomas Show.